everybody, my name is Light of Hand, and how are you? I'm not too bad, a lot better than I have been recently. I'm very sorry it's taken me so long to release a video. A mixture of being ill, work, and certain other things unfortunately getting in the way, so unfortunately put me into a certain mood where I was thinking, no, I can't do this at this minute. But anyway, I'm back, and hopefully going to be releasing 1 or 2 videos at least every week, maybe more if I can. Okay, so as the title suggests, in this video I want to ask you a question. How do you like your games run? When it comes to role-playing, as a player or as a GM, are you someone who likes to use something from the books? You know, like an adventure that's actually already written down, so it saves you time to actually do that? Are you someone who likes to create your own adventures? Or are you someone who doesn't mind being given a pre-made character? Or do you actually really like to, like myself really, create as much as you can, put a little bit of your own maybe a little bit of different personalities in, but also maybe I've also played completely randomized, you know, like how completely random, from the race to what class to what I've done all that before as well. But I'm just wondering for you guys, what sort would be so good for you? Because recently I've noticed as a GM I've been doing a lot more of creating my own adventures. I do like taking some other adventures from other stories, bringing them in. I sometimes change them a little. Sometimes I feel it may suit my group more, or if I feel like my group may be a bit too strong for that certain type of adventure. Sometimes I make things a little harder, or even known to make it a little bit easier, because I feel like my group may not be completely balanced, or there might be only 2 people at the time playing, and the adventure may be recommended for 4 or 5. Going into that, I also want to give you guys a little bit of a background of what games I've played, which ones I've liked, and so on. I'm just going to go into the ones I myself, and I'm going to use this again, I myself really do enjoy. Now, one of them is Warhammer 1st edition and 2nd edition fantasy roleplay. I love them. I think they're brilliant. I love playing them whenever I get the opportunity to, and that's few and far between now, if I'm being honest. But that's due to certain friends of mine that I know that used to play it and so on. Either moved away or got other family responsibilities. I've also played quite a bit of Dark Heresy, 1st edition, not 2nd edition, unfortunately. I have played a little bit of 2nd edition, really enjoyed the times I managed to meet up with people to do it. Unfortunately, certain things in life have either got in my way or in other people's and within the group, so unfortunately the group couldn't stay together. That was a big shame, really. I also really enjoy the Star Wars adventures, especially Edge of the Empire, because I feel like you can do so much more with that one than, excuse me a second guys, than so much Age of Rebellion or so on. Because what I like with the Edge of the Empire is when I was especially GM, I had the players sometimes even working for the Empire in some story bits and so on. I really did enjoy running that game. It went for about a year and a bit, and I had great fun running that. Also great fun playing D&D for 5th edition. I'm not a massive fan of D&D, guys. Don't hurt me, don't attack me for saying that, guys. But I had a really great GM in that, and actually made me, when I could make it, really enjoy actually playing it. But also, I've recently got into the Star Trek roleplay. Now, I love the lore. Now, before I got my hands on this book, I liked Star Trek, but never was someone who understood a lot about Star Trek. So, kudos to Mephidius. They've done a great job of. I was loving reading that rulebook. I feel the rulebook's very well done. It's better than some rulebooks that's been out there. I still think one of the best rulebooks that I've got my hands on was Edge of the Empire, because there's so much stuff in it. I feel like you can play a game by itself with just that book. Some of these others, Star Trek, I'm not too sure yet. I haven't played it properly. Don't get me wrong, the other source material books helped with Edge of the Empire / even the other role plays. They're all compatible with each other in the sense of Age of the Empire, Age of Rebellion, Force and Destiny, and Edge of the Empire. So as I said, I had great fun with a certain group of people. playing that. Again, shame it fell through. It's unfortunately myself was the one on that one, because I was hoping to go back and do some training. That didn't work out. Worked then literally not long after I was looking at going to start doing the training. Work came along to me and went, "Oh, we're changing your work hours again, aren't you?" So I was like, "Great, I can't now meet up with certain people on certain days." So that didn't help me. But anyway, going back to what my question sort of is. Recently, I've been finding that I like doing, when I've been doing some roleplay bits now, I find that I don't just seem to like doing this one adventure, which it just has from start to finish. I've started doing, okay, here's this sort of objective, but here's a load of little side quests. And sometimes completing one little side quest on one of the sides may give them some information for one of the other side quests or there, or may give them a disadvantage on doing another side quest later on, because they may have upset someone who may be important in another bit that's later. Now I've started doing stuff like that, or you know, you might discover something, evidence towards an alien race that has done something, and you make first contact with them. Things like that. If you chose a different path, you would have just done the first contact and wouldn't have known about what they may have done in the past. So these are things that I've started doing as a GM. But let's be honest, the amount of times I've done these things, I've had these adventures planned out, I sometimes don't even get to use one or two of these side adventures. So sometimes I think to myself, okay, how can I adapt these into later on adventures? But I want to ask you guys, do you, even those of you who have been GM, have you had problems when you've tried to do this? Because some games, it's worked really well for me. It's knowing your group as well. It's trying to work out what your group would think and where they would go and stuff. And I have to say, with the Star Wars, when I was doing some of this, it wasn't always. I sometimes just done an adventure, bang, or I'd go out, here's 4 adventures, guys. They all interlinked in some way, but it wasn't often it changed what happened. Only nearer to the end, that sort of was happening. But yeah, I just want to know what you guys, you know, yourselves, are you someone who would like something like that in their roleplay games? It's not always that easy. You really do have to. I've had 2 months before me and my mates are going to be meeting up to do a roleplay, hopefully. And I've already in my mind and beginning on paper, I probably have my main story to a point where I want to go. From there, I've also got a load of little side missions that I've got in a little timeline thing I've set up. So if they go from, say, point A to B within the main story frame, I have a little adventure starting up. But if they may do certain things here and there that may help them from, you know, like B to C, or may even give them some understanding what might be happening in D. But I'm not going into too much information with this guys, because again, one of my players might end up watching this, so I don't want to give away too much. But again, has anyone done this? Has anyone actually? Because I've done it recently. I've discovered with sometimes it works really well and it's really good, and then other times I get people get upset that, oh, you should have pushed us towards this other side adventure first because it would have made this easier. And I was like, no, I like putting out these different options and so on. So, but again, I just want to ask you guys that question. Do you yourselves just rather play, okay, this is A to B? So, anyway, but like I'm saying, guys, I just want to know from your own experiences, what have you really liked from like your sort of role playing and stuff like that? For me, I love the socializing with the others, but I like being really creative. I love doing the voices. I love seeing how people react to certain things. I'm already, even with Star Wars, I was doing some stuff with this, but even with the Star Trek, I'm looking at what different ideas I can do with like aliens, maybe different social aspects and so on. So yeah, I was just I've been really enjoying doing these sort of things. I like being a player too, if I'm being honest, guys. If you can get a good GM, you know, you're happy. Now, I use the words most people that I've gamed with have enjoyed me doing GM. At least that's what they've told me anyway. I do know at least 2 or 3 that were a bit like, with me doing the GMing, which is fair enough. I don't mind. That's for them. One person didn't like that I was too. I felt in his words, he said, I felt like you did not stick to the main story. You had too much going on. Fair enough. No, I take these things in, because I've also had another player who just didn't like my style of GM, and he felt like I was too. I didn't give his too enough money to the group so they could go out and buy, the best armor, the best this, the best that. I've had, some other people just say this would never happen. This would never happen. And so, fair enough. I don't mind. If someone criticises, fair enough. As long as they talk, they talk to you, blah blah blah. If they some people just never going to be happy what you do. So never take it to heart. That's the first thing I recommend to anyone else. If you can get that really good group, and it's a shame because I've had at least 2 really good groups I would class as like really brilliant groups to do gaming with. And one was a couple of years ago, and that was the Star Wars and the Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. I think that was 2-3 years ago. Right, because we started doing Star Wars, and then 5th edition came out, I believe, or been out for just a little while. And me and my friend actually wanted to do something, and I was like, "Yep, I'll do every 2 weeks. You do yours, and every 2 weeks I'll do mine. 2 weeks after that, I'll do mine. Continue mine." And we enjoyed that. I thought it was really, really good. It was a nice little group of people. I got to play a type of character I haven't played for ages. Anyway, but as I said, my question to you guys is: do you find when you're doing roleplay, what is it you really like? Because I've been in a group that just wanted to do whatever was like adventures that have been printed. They didn't like doing anything that was like made up, because they felt like, oh, it's not, it's not to what, they didn't feel like it was to the rules. That was a really weird group to game with. At one point, I have to say, because I came along with a whole like made up adventure. Most of the group loved it, but there was the 2 classes, like the 2 main people in the group were sort of very like, oh no, don't like this, it's blah blah blah. So I was like, okay, fair enough. But again, lovely guys to game with. It was a good laugh, very good social aspect and so on. Again, sometimes is role playing for you about the social aspect more than it is actually about meeting up with your friends and so on. So more than the actual adventure, because again, another group of people I thought was brilliant just because they were really good people to hang out with, have a good few beers as you're sitting there doing the role play. And the problem with that though is in a 4-hour session, maybe 5 that we was all sitting there together, probably only 2 hours were actually role playing, 3 hours of us lot taking the piss out of each other and having a laugh. And see, that can be alright, but at the same time, if there was that moment when you guys were really enjoying an adventure, it kind of like, yeah. Anyway, let me know in the comments, guys, what you actually think with your sort of role-playing experiences and so on. Do you prefer actually doing the adventures from books, or do you prefer doing these all, creating sort of your own adventures? Do you feel like an adventure should just be from A to B, like a railroad, or do you feel like there should be many other options in between? I think the reason why I think I went kind of a little bit more A and B, sorry, not so much A and B. There's an old adventure from Warhammer version 1. It's the first one. I don't believe it is the first. I believe originally it wasn't the first. I think there was like a prologue thing that originally came out then, but they added it to it later on. It's Shadows over Bogenhafen. Because when you first play that, there's different places you can go to which will give you clues to different things. I thought it was amazing, Shadows over Bogenhafen, but I played that when I was quite young. Very young, if I'm being honest. So the first time I played it, I thought it was boring. Then when I got older, managed to play it again, I really enjoyed it, because I've realised it wasn't just about let's go here, let's hack this person, or I'm going to stand outside and do this, or I'm going to do this, this or this. It was a bit more, look at little subtle things. What's going on? How this person reacts to this, and I did run it one time with some friends as well, but by that point I think we have already played it 3 or 4 times, so you kind of knew what we were meant to do. So yeah. Anyway, I feel like I rabbited on a little too long there, guys. So again, hopefully I'm asking you that what I asked is quite clear. From your own experiences, what do you like in a game? I don't just mean by the social aspect, blah blah blah. I also do mean, like, again, do you prefer the railroad story? Do you prefer if it's something that the publishers themselves have printed? Do you enjoy adventures that your friends have created? Or do you feel like... Because I like to get the sort of idea, because as I said, I like creating stuff myself though. Anyway, if you like this video, please click like, guys. Please leave a comment. I'd love to get feedback from people on this one, if I'm really being honest. Again, I'm going to apologise for how long it's taken me to do any videos. I'm really sorry, guys. And also, guys, I hope you're all well. I had a bad gut bug for some time, and it really knocked me for 6. So yeah, but again, subscribe if you like this. If it's like this is one of these sort of things you like. I'm gonna try and do a little stuff, talk about some roleplay stuff. I might even talk about some adventures, bits I've got planned coming up, and so on. With some friends, I'm actually gonna be running a Star Trek game with some friends. So yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy. I hope I didn't rabble too much for you. And thank you for those that have commented. Just let me know, and so on. I hope you're having a good day, and goodbye.